Hi and welcome back. I am so glad you are here. Before we jump in, I just want to quickly share something I'm really excited about. I'm opening the doors soon to a new program, Rebirth. It's for anyone who's been feeling disconnected from themselves or unsure about their next step, whether in life, career, or just finding your own sense of clarity again. I will tell you more later in the episode, but if you already know this speaks to you, you can reach out to me any of my social media channels or through my website www.mariagoach.com to learn how to join. Now let's get into today's conversation. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Unstoppable Woman next episode, and I'm so excited to be here today. And I am waiting for my next guest, Shelby, and she just joined. So let me wait for her to ask to join so I can let her in and we can start. Hello, Shelby. I'm so excited. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you very much. And good morning for you. I know it's like 8 a.m. your time, 5 p.m. my time. So
I know it's early, but it's totally fine. I like, starting my day this way, so I couldn't think of anything better. So I'm very
perfect,
happy to be
perfect. I'm so excited. So, Shelby, usually I start with introducing my guest in a few words at the beginning of the episode. But to be honest, you are one of the few people where I feel like speechless because your story is just so powerful and so inspiring. You are the founder of, and I've tried to practice it, EYEHESIVE.
here. That's it. Yes.
And it's a movement and it's a brand that grew out of one of the most difficult experience of your life, losing your eye in a snowboarding accident. And instead of letting that experience define you and really take away your power and limit you in a way, you turned it into your signature, your strength, your power movement, and you turned it into a platform that I can see, to be honest, online. Because now that we connected and this word opened up to me, I can see that you are empowering so many other people out there, and this is just so beautiful to watch. So I was like sitting here prepping and I was just like, what even can I say about your story? Like, I'm just so speechless, and I'm so excited and so grateful you are here with me today and sharing your story with everyone else.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on. And that was beautiful at all. I almost was like tearing up. I think you did such an amazing job, and I have a hard time too explaining it when people ask. I'm like, it's like so many things. Where do we start? And yeah, that was beautiful
Yes.
introduction. So thank you. I'm honored to be here.
You're very welcome. So, as I mentioned, truly, and I'm tearing up too because it just really is so powerful. Can you take us back to the moment of your accident and what those early days of recovery look like for you? And not just like physically, but really like emotionally.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm coming up about 5 years since the injury. It was February 28th, 2021. Um, a snowboarding injury, and we're coming off the back end of COVID at that time. Sorry, of
Yes.
COVID at that time. And so there was a lot going on in my personal life as is too. And I share this publicly as well too. I had just started on a journey to get sober. And so at the time of the injury, I was 10 months sober, and I grew up skiing and snowboarding. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah originally. So it's like I've spent my whole life in those mountains. And so it was quite a shock, obviously. It would be for anybody losing an eye in any circumstance. But I feel like in that time in my life, there was a lot going on. And so it was even this extra shock, we'll call it. And but it forced me to dig deep and to use like the principles that I had learned from getting sober, and community, and leaning into
Yes.
support and asking for help and receiving help, and this surrender, really, really, really surrender. I'm sorry, I'm like cat sitting right now for a friend, and this cat is on one this morning. So if you hear
That's
her
okay.
meowing,
That's fine. I have one too. She might join, so that's
okay.
fine.
And so, that portion of surrender and really
Yeah,
letting go, because, for anyone that loses an eye or goes through any kind of life-changing experience, there's this moment of uncertainty of like, what does this mean
right.
for my future? Of doubt, of fear, of, the unknown. And so, all of that is obviously coming up. And then there's the physical aspect of having to, because I was blind immediately in the
Okay.
right eye, but they left the eye in hopes that it would restore some vision. So there was about 2 months after the initial injury that we were just praying for a miracle that I would restore some sort of vision. But from the jump, I was completely blind in that
Mhm.
eye. So now all of a sudden, after 30 years of seeing from two eyes, my body and my brain are trying to adjust to vision out of one eye. So that was, quite an experience as well too. But and I share this with a lot of clients that are very new in this journey, that, it feels so challenging at that time, but our brains and our bodies are like the most amazing things that I had never experienced it at this level, to literally feel my body and my brain like adapt to this new vision, like in real time. I was like, wow, like we human beings are the most amazing creatures, and the fact that we can adapt to such sudden changes like that, quite amazing. So, you know, going through that, and then there is, it's really hard to really answer your question. It's really hard to quite pinpoint this like emotional piece, because
Yeah,
obviously that kind of trauma is emotional all on its own. But then, like I said, I was 10 months sober. I was trying to maintain my
exactly.
sobriety. It was the pandemic, the end of the pandemic. So there was a lot of weirdness with hospitals and who could come with me and who was allowed in. They still had a lot of restrictions. And then there was like another piece in there where my dad was actually really, really sick at that time too.
Oh,
And he was in the hospital. And so my brother is calling me like crying, and I'm helpless because I'm like, I can't do anything. So it's hard to distinguish like what like this emotional pieces are, at play when it comes to like just talking about like an eye injury or eye loss. But I had a lot of community, and that's what I share all the time. I had so much support and community, and I leaned into that. And I, again, asked for
beautiful.
help, and I received help. And I had people at my door with groceries, with
Love
taking
that.
me to the doctors, and I remember even one of my friends, she's yoga instructor and meditation, and she sat with me one night, and like we did this really beautifully like guided meditation to just kind of remove and let things flow, emotionally through. And so just, taking on these different experiences and leaning into community was really what helped me the most at those beginning few months.
I mean, I'm not surprised that it's difficult for you to talk about the like really pinpointing and grabbing on like the emotional side, because how could you? Like going into being sober, and that's a huge change, not only on the body, but also on the mind and your identity. Like it's really, I haven't gone to it, but I would imagine like you're really rebuilding yourself. It's a full different life. And then your accident happens, you have to adopt working with one eye. And you said it beautifully, what amazing our body is and what we're capable. And a lot of people, yes, unfortunately forgot it, that we're kind of able to like heal ourselves and make it work and figure it out. Like it's gonna figure it out, and it's beautifully, but also on the mental side, because everything changes. Like you only see with one eye, you have to get used to it. Your visual change, you have to get used to that. You have to start accepting yourself. That's again a big change. Then your dad, then COVID. I'm like, let's talk about changes. Like, this is just, it's like it's crazy. And in a short period of time, like what, in 1 year? Like people
Mhm.
experience this through their whole life, not in 1 year.
Yeah.
So it is amazing that this would put a lot of people into like to a point where collapsing and being like, I can't handle this much of pressure and this emotional roller coaster, because this must have been such an emotional roller coaster for you. And I'm so happy to hear that you had the support in the community, because I am a huge believer in community, and I so fully agree. And what was your turning point where you said, okay, this is my story. I'm sober. I'm now having one eye. I'm having everything reworked in my life, and I'm not letting this story take over my life. Like, I'm gonna lead this, and so powerfully.
Yeah, so at the beginning, there was a lot of time laying in bed because I had zero energy. It
Yes.
was hard for me to really do much, and my brain, my body are working overtime to heal, so it's like using up all the energy. So I'm spending 18 hours in bed, which is crazy because I'm very much get up early, go, 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 and very independent and active, and so. But I share, I'm like spending that much time in bed like changed my life because it actually forced me to slow down for once and really go inward. And I
My God.
remember asking myself, Shelby, like, who do you want to be after this experience? Like, what do you want this to mean? Like like it just made me kind of question my whole existence in a sense in my life and where I was going and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to show up. And I wouldn't say I was like near death, but like, it was a big enough experience where it did make me
Yes,
start to be like, life can change in a blink of an eye, no pun intended, but life can change instantly. And so like
it is.
where what's important to me? What am I doing with this story and where am I going from here? And that just started to like fuel this little bit of something in me and I got this like download, from God that was like, this is meant for something bigger.
Yes.
And, I couldn't really conceptualize like what that was going to be. And I also had friends telling me that too, like, Shelby, this is going to be something like you're going to make something of this. And it was really hard to imagine what that was or how at the beginning. But all I did, because what felt really good was sharing. And so on my personal page, I just started sharing, and they're still up there. I feel like they're little journal entries, but like on my personal page was like, this is what happened, my story. And I was kind of
Yes.
taking people through the process of what I was really thinking and feeling and going through at that moment. And of course, I was getting a lot of love and support and comments and connections, and that felt good. And so after doing that, I was like, but I knew something was missing because I'm like, I need to find someone that has one eye because
Oh,
I need to talk to someone that has one eye because I still feel like that connection is going to be invaluable. And so I was like, maybe I could like find a community and I couldn't really find anything. So I'm like, well, maybe I could start to build something or I don't know. It was kind of like, so I started the EYEHESIVE Instagram page, but at that time it was just like, let's see if I can find one person. I shared my story, kind of put out there, like, is there anyone else out there? And I got a lot of responses. And I, at that time, started a whole blog and I was blogging and I was sharing people's stories. And so it started out very much this community building and storytelling because that just felt really good and healing for me.
wow. Wow. Oh my God. Listening to it, it's just beautiful. And let me just reflect back a little bit on the moment that what needed to happen to you is like sit down and look inward. Like, okay, where I'm going from this. And this is so important. And I talk about this a lot, that we don't hear ourselves. Like, there's so much noises from the outside world, and the expectations we have to meet,
Mhm.
and what people are think, and the people pleasing, that we don't even know what we want. Like, we live a life that we don't might not even enjoy, might have a career that doesn't fulfill us, and we don't know how to go inward and actually listen, like you said, hey Shelby, so who are you now? Like,
Mhm.
what is my story now? And that you can actually make your story, like you can decide, and you can go, like how that turned into this natural community building for you. And I see it's huge community, like I was even like, wow, so surprised seeing all these people, and everyone just wears their one eye story so proudly, that it's so beautiful to see. And I know you're planning now a retreat. I have seen that
Mhm.
that providing a space for all of these people to come together and let's make something beautiful out of it and let's empower each other. I think this is wonderful, and I fully see where this community building goes into it and how you can make then your own story and your own journey, and you're really like deciding, no, this is my new identity, this is what I'm making out of this, and I'm just not giving in. So for anyone who is listening to us now and feels like some, maybe they are one eye two or something similar happened to them, or they think, oh, I'm less than others, like I'm not just as good enough or not good enough as like how I was because an accident or a trauma or anything that happened to me, what would you say to them?
Like, I mean, I believe everybody's like beyond good enough. You know, there's no such thing as being less than, and that we're all born equal and good enough and born worthy. But I've been there where I've had like really low self-esteem and confidence, like prior to getting sober, prior to the eye injury. Like, I didn't believe that I never, and I sure, I'm like, I never thought that I could run a community, a movement, have a business, be selling things, like growing something of my own. But like that was never once a thought all through like my early 20s. Like I just had very low like belief in myself and my capabilities. And I just wanted to like pay the bills and go to work and not get in trouble and like not have anyone mad at me. You know, it's like that was
Yeah.
how I was living. And once I got sober, like, you know, I had a big shift then where I started to kind of see myself in this different light. Like, maybe I can do more. You know, I just stopped drinking. Maybe like so that started to really, and then when I shared my story, so then this is where I'm going with this too. It's like
Yeah.
if you are in that place, but you have this nudge where you're like, I want to share my story, but I'm scared, or I don't think anyone's going to get value from it, or I don't think my story's good enough, like share it anyways. Like, and so
Right.
having that bravery, that courage to put it out there and just share it, and even if one person sees it, and that was always been my mentality. I'm like, I hope this helps one person, you know.
Love it.
And it's like that because like at the beginning sometimes too, it's like you put it out there, or even still to this day, I'll put something out there and it doesn't do as well or whatever. It's not even about like the engagement, and it's just like the consistency and continue to put it out there. And it's like the
Exactly.
impact that that makes like ripples further than we can even imagine. And so if you're sitting there like on the fence or really wanting to share your story and you have that nudge, but you're just like worried what other people are going to think or if it's good enough, like I just want everybody to be out there sharing
Oh,
ever imagine to put this kind of stuff on the internet.
love it. And it's beautiful how you said it. And it's so interesting because if we so I'm as I'm a neurocoach, if we look at it from a brain's perspective, like this experience, like something traumatic happens to you and you go out doing something that you have never done before, sharing your story, like how you said it now that before you could never imagine. You kind of sounded like just, okay, I'm here, but I don't want to be too seen. I don't want
Mhm.
anyone to see me. And now you feel like I'm showing everything. And for the brain, that is so scary. So
Mhm.
scary. So it's so normal if you are at that age that you at that stage that you feel scared because you haven't done it before. And everything, I mean, the brain wants to protect you. So when you
Mhm.
are trying to do something new, it's going to say, oh, don't do it. You're going to fail. You're going to make a fool of out of yourself. It's never going to work. But how you build confidence, and this is what I see in you too, it's trying and getting proof I can do it, and getting that one proof that one person saw it and one person can relate. And just how you said it, there are people out there just with the same issue and same problem waiting for someone to speak up and then can connect to. So I love what you said. It's beautiful. So, can you tell us a little bit more about adhesive and how did you spot this gap in the market that this is needed? I mean, I've read a few lines about the previous eye patches you tried and they weren't comfortable, but really like founding this, and I see the feedbacks people are giving you on social media and all the beautiful things they say and how much they love it. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so with adhesive, because I didn't know the coaching industry even existed, that was not on my radar, but I knew that I, wanted to help people with my story. I wanted to build some kind of community, and then I did want to find a way that I could monetize, that I could create something, sell something that this could potentially be my income, or a source of
Yes.
income from me somewhere. I don't know, there was just this feeling. And at the same time, I was using these adhesive eye patches that I just did not love. And I'm like, how come there's not better options? They're like just very like kid friendly or just very medical, big, not attractive
Yeah.
looking. I want like sleek, cool looking ones. And so that was like the original idea. And that's why like the name, like adhesive. I'm like, that's so cute and like clever and adhesive, and then it also cohesive, like coming together. So I was like, that's where this product-based business. And so, but it took me 4 years to
Okay.
actually like source, manufacture, get the product. Like we just launched the product on June 20th of this year. So I've been working on it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, I've been working on that product for so long. But in the meantime, as the community was growing, because I was doing the blogging and I was sharing all these
Yeah.
stories, and all of a sudden I have this huge community and this following, and they're kind of like, we want more, And I was like, well, the only like at that time, I was like, maybe like a virtual conference. So the very
Mhm.
first thing that I launched and sold tickets to was a virtual conference. We call it the iConnect virtual conference, and that was in 2022. And we're coming up on our fourth annual iConnect virtual conference, and that's going to be on December 6th of
Oh
this
my
year.
God.
I know. So we've done them, in October 1 year, April 1 year, June 1 year, now December. So yeah, every year, and we bring in every year we have different speakers. Everybody that attends has one eye of any kind. And so, and every year it just grows bigger and bigger, and we have different speakers come in, and we do a lot of like fun different things. And so, anyways, going back to your question, the conference, and then after the conference, it was the people were still wanting to do something. So we started doing these like virtual, like I was calling them meetups at the time, but every
Okay.
month these virtual things, which then transformed into a membership, the One Eye Era membership. And then somewhere in there, I hired, because I was like, there's something here, and I feel like I need a business coach. I didn't even know what that really even meant, but like I heard it maybe on a podcast somewhere, and I'm like, I need a
Yeah.
business coach. So I go to social media. I literally hire the first woman that I come across. She was amazing, but I'm like, you'll be my business coach. And I'm talking, we're coaching, and she's the one that was like, you should really be a mentor for this community. And that was even really scary. I was like, me, what? And she's like, you can help these people so much deeper. And so we created a one-on-one offer, which I still do one-on-one coaching. And I've done a million different, programs and challenges. And we just wrapped up. I had a 6-week hot one eye gang summer challenge that just ended yesterday or on Wednesday. So we've just done so many different things. And then, now our very first in-person retreat in Tulum, Mexico,
Yes.
and the product. So we've got it all. But it's been quite an amazing journey. And now I'm also weaving in this new evolution, and I've been working with other people that have life-altering injuries outside of eye injuries, that are also building brands and businesses and movements with their story as well too.
This is such a wonderful, wonderful, your story is beautifully like building on each other, and really like how it's coming from one step to another, and how your story is unfolding. Can you tell a little bit about that, building this business from this pain point to this beautiful blossoming flower? Because this is how I see it now after you explaining it. So it's just like one layer to the
I know.
other, and it's coming out, and it's just beautiful, and it's home for so many people. That how did this help for you to build your confidence from really going from that hiding behind the door to stepping out, starting to tell my story? Okay, now let's do maybe something virtual. Okay, let's have a community. So, and now being making a retreat and people joining and meeting them face to face. Like, the Shelby that was behind the door now to this Shelby, how did your confidence along the way? If you could just share some words on that, I would love to hear.
Yeah, so it's just like you said, it's not, it's night and day. Like Shelby, like I feel like that's like old Shelby and new Shelby, but it didn't happen overnight. Like, and even what you're saying, it's been a process, and I've been on this journey. I have just over 5 years sober, and I'm about to, 5 years since the eye injury. So it's been years, and I think that's where people get caught up on the internet. Sometimes they see
Mm,
someone posting something or talking about something or speaking in a way, and they're like, I'm behind, or I should be that poised or that confident or be able to speak that well. And it's like I've shown up on social media every day for almost 5 years,
right.
sharing my story and sharing other people's stories, and connecting with people and putting myself out there and getting in the DMs and doing, things that just felt like the next courageous step, just one day at a time, one step at a time, pushing the boundary a little bit more, pushing my comfort zone a little bit more. And then, it's like virtual conference to meetups, to working one-on-one and going deep, to now in-person experience. So you can kind of see the layers, and I do believe, and I've seen people do it much faster and come right out the gate with an in-person experience and all these things. But for my journey and the path I needed to take it in that confidence building was kind of a step at a time, a day at a time, growing.
Yes.
I've been wanting to do this conference for this retreat for as long as I've had EYEHESIVE, I think, but it's taken me again now to really build up
Yes.
that confidence. And I heard there's a woman in my mastermind, and she has a community for people that are diabetic. And she was telling me about her retreat that she runs for the diabetic community. And just something hit me that was like, I'm ready. Like, I can do this. Like, what do you like? Let's go, Shelby. Like, what have you been waiting for? And so, yeah, it's just being surrounded by those people as well, too, that push you. I'm always in masterminds. I've always had a one-on-one coach. I've been in consistent long-term mentorship that's pushed me to keep going, to
Exactly.
keep showing up, and to rise and get out of my comfort zone.
And what it really resonates with me and is that a lot of people like sitting and thinking like, oh God, like I'm trying so hard, I'm working so hard, and I'm not getting the promotion, I'm not gonna, and then they're like, why? And really, this is where I would want to turn back to what you said earlier, and I talk about this so much, and my online program is also about this because when I went to burnout and I went through like I have PTSD, is that there was also a moment where what you just said, you have to sit down and look into yourself, and it's like, what the hell is going on? What I want, and this is what I would say to the listeners: if you're here and being like, oh, but how did she do it? Like I want to, and I'm just always running into the door like or the gate, and I'm just can't get forward. It's like, look into yourself. Are you really doing what your heart is telling you to do, what your really mission is, what you are so passionate about that it doesn't feel like work? It's you, it's really you putting yourself out. Like, connect with yourself, because this is, it really goes back what I hear you telling is, it's your passion, it's your love, it's your life, it's comes so naturally, like it really comes across that this is what you meant to be doing, and this is why you are, as I said, unfolding such as a beautiful flower with your business and seeing this. And congratulations doing your first retreat. I mean, this is huge. I mean, for myself also running a business, this is huge. So congratulations, Shelby. I'm so happy for you, and this will be, I'm sure, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. And the people we have coming on the retreat, it's going to be like smaller, more intimate. And again, that's like, I just think about these baby steps, like doing the things that feel really good, like, but stretch that zone a bit. But you don't have to, like, I wasn't going to host 100-person retreat. It's like 15
Yeah.
feels so good. Like, I know I can bring in 15 amazing people and keep it intimate, and then the next one, maybe it'll be 25 or 50, so it's just like, if that feels right, so it's just like, really, again, you said, going inward and knowing what you want and what feels like the next right step for you,
Exactly.
in your path. And I've been distracted a million times. Like, I've gone off the path. I've like
Yes.
tried the things that I've seen on the internet, and I've always, pulled it back, like, okay, Shelby, what you were saying, like, what's on your heart? What feels right to you? Like, are you building, you see shiny objects, but are you building a life that you actually want? You know, because I've been
Exactly.
out there, there's been moments where I've been building, I'm like, wait, this isn't the life I want. What am I doing?
I love it. Yes, because you were so right. All these outside noises, like seeing, oh, someone is doing a retreat with 150 people, or 200.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be my goal. Is like, no. Is it really? Like, do you really want such a big? Can you even handle it at this stage of your life? Like, would you be able? So yes. I mean, having a retreat with 15 people, that's huge already. In live person for days, that's huge. So that's amazing.
Thank you, thank you. I know I'm very excited.
Yes. And finally, I also want to ask you, for you personally and to your story, what does being unstoppable mean for you?
Ooh, this is a good one. So I'm going to start with what it doesn't mean, and then we'll
Okay.
go into what it does. Okay. So what unstoppable to me doesn't mean like is never like straying off the path, like I was just talking about. It doesn't mean never having a wobble, having self-doubt, having fear. It doesn't mean that everything has to be perfect. You know, it doesn't mean that it needs to, like, you have to have it all figured out and that you
Mm.
have to have it perfect. You know, like when I think about unstoppable, it's like all of that messiness, showing up before you're ready, it not being perfect, like looking back on content that makes you cringe. It is putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and maybe, you know, make upsetting people or being misunderstood. And when I really think about unstoppable though, it's like all of that and following your heart like to the very, 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 very end. And when you mess up and when the things feel hard, like you keep going. There's like this energy of like, I just don't give up. If I need to take a step back, if I need to rest, if I need to go inward, if I need support, if I need some loving, if I need a nap or food, like great, you know, we nourish ourselves, but like there's we never give up. We go back in,
Yes.
maybe at a different angle, maybe with a different lens, maybe, you know, in a different pivot or something along those lines. But it's just this energy of like all of the messiness, all of the mistakes and the trial and error and being misunderstood, but you always show up no matter what every day.
I love that. Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Shelby. So if people would like to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
On Instagram for sure. Right here on this platform's my platform of choice. And so here EYEHESIVE, but I'm on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. And then our website is eyehesive.com. And so you can buy patches there. You can also, you know, reach out via email through there or shop. We've got some other merch and some other things that we're going to be launching here soon too, or get on our email list. But Instagram's where I spend most of my time when it comes to social media.
Perfect. So I encourage everyone that would like to get in contact with Shelby or feels like this is similar to her story and looks like would like to get some advice or mentor or the items, then feel free to reach out here on Instagram. Shelby, thank you so much. I loved our conversation. It was wonderful. You are wonderful, and I'm really, really grateful for you to join me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure getting to meet you and having this conversation as well too. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye everybody.